Bedlamites. I met Nate at Phillip Island early 2009. We were part of an organised Melbourne-based surf club. At the time, I was living in Bentley, one of the city's southeast suburbs. My girlfriend lived in North Carlton, close to the centre, where I worked and studied. Nate had a 3x3 metre room available in his flat in Essendon, 7 kilometres from her residence. I decided to take it. Following a surf session, we chatted over our parmigianas. Nate worked as a representative for a company that sold fire extinguishers. A second room was occupied by an easygoing carpenter from Kinglake. A week later, the same weekend I was due to move in, Victoria's Black Saturday bushfires claimed 173 lives. Kinglake almost burned to the ground. Distraught, Nate's flatmate left the residence to be with his family. Or so I thought. When his father came to help him move, no conversation was exchanged between Nate and the departing flatmate, whose last words to me were, "Watch him." The following day, Nate quit his job. "They fired almost my whole team. I don't care that there's a recession. That's bullshit. They go, I go." He pulled a bong from his cupboard, packed a mixed cone of tobacco and cannabis bud, and sucked on his pipe. The bubbling water was unsettling to me. "I am the chief master," he said as he switched on his PlayStation 2 and began playing Medal of Honor Airborne. Minutes later, he pressed the pause button. "All right, cobber, we're gonna need a flatmate." Nate scanned the Gumtree flat wanted section. "I want a chick. Chicks have mates, and I want to meet these mates." He found a German woman in her early 20s. "She'll do. Euro backpackers are loose." Linda was pleasant enough and got the room. The evening succeeding Linda's first night, Nate left for the pub. "James, I need to talk to you," she said. "What's up?" "Last night, Nate came into my room." "I hope he didn't keep you up with drunk talk." "He came into my bed." "What?" "He said he needed a cuddle." "And you let him?" "I mean, it's okay if you did." "He was so sad. I didn't know what to do." "Did he push himself on you?" "He put his arms around me and fell asleep. In the morning, he got out of bed and left. He didn't say anything." "I'll have a word with him." Linda had a job cleaning houses. I interviewed students for work abroad programs. After locking my bike, I approached Nate. "You want to play Grand Theft Auto 4? He said. "It's sick. Get yourself a Goldie. Got some Cascade in the fridge." "I'm good, mate." "No wuckers." "Hey, Linda said you went into her room." "I was a bit sloshed. Boys were down about being fired." I paused. "That doesn't mean you can go into her bed." "Calm down, fella. I didn't rape her." Nate apologized and told Linda it wouldn't happen again. He switched on a replay of an Ultimate Fighter match from 3 years earlier, where Liverpudlian jiu-jitsu expert Michael Bisping took on rugged Oregon street brawler Josh Haynes. Haynes was taken down and peppered with elbows before Bisping accidentally kneed him in the chin while he was on his haunches. He took a hard kick to the midsection, was swept by Bisping's foot, and escaped a rear naked chokehold before cutting Bisping with a couple of haymakers. Bisping responded with a flying knee and a roundhouse kick, which Josh ducked before striking his opponent with a hard right. After escaping an armlock and rear naked choke, Haynes could no longer keep up. Knees, elbows, uppercuts, jabs, and hooks from a relentless Bisping sent Josh to the ground. Saturated in blood, he stood up immediately after the ref stopped the fight. "Linda, come and see how fucking hard these cunts are," Nate called. He was wriggling his fists in excitement, his eyes bulging. Linda approached me the following weekend. He came into my room again. "Did he get in your bed?" "No, but he sat on it and played with my hair. I said I would scream, and he left." I confronted Nate once more. "I'm serious. You can't go into Linda's room." Chillax, amigo. I was a bit off my chops and thought it was my room. Just an accident, mate. They do happen. Playing with her hair while she slept? I don't care how drunk you were. It's not on. You're taking it too far. You've taken it too far. Oh man, don't tell me you're into this PC shit. It has nothing to do with political correctness. Get off your high horse, mate. She's on bloody holiday. Threatened to call the pigs. I don't want pigs in my house. Don't treat me like a rapist, man. You're as bad as her. Linda stood in the hallway listening. Next time, I really will call the police. You can't do that. If I've committed a crime, tell me what it is. Go on, I'm all ears. Linda's eyes watered as she kept silent. That's what I thought. Let's settle this like adults. There's a brew waiting in the fridge. Nate put his headset on and began playing Call of Duty 4. It was a mistake of mine to move in here, Linda said. I feel the same way. Nate continued his days with a steady stream of beers and bongs. Linda was out of the house often, and I spent half the week arguing with my girlfriend at her flat. I didn't dare bring her to ours. With Nate and Linda's blessing, while visiting Melbourne for a work conference, my cousin slept on the couch for a couple of nights. On a walk back from the Brunswick Green, my cousin and I noticed the illuminated reverse lights on his rental car. Nate was behind the wheel. What are you doing? I said. He widened his eyes a couple of times to hide his intoxication and rubbed his face. Just wanted to pick up a few beers before the office shut. It's not your car. Oh, come on, man. It was just up the road. Got no wheels myself. My cousin reached for the door handle. Get out of my car and fuck off. I took him inside to explain that Nate was unwell. I don't give a shit. I have an important meeting in the morning. If he had crashed or been pulled over, I'd be fucked. All's well that ends well. The following morning, the car's battery was dead. Nate had left the park lights on. I'm going to be late for my meeting, you fucking dumb cunt. My cousin called a taxi. Nate sulked on the couch. The fella's a bit out of line. Accidents happen. He watched some UFC and took a hit from the bong. I visited a different cousin in Coburg, Nate in tow. He swallowed a Mitsubishi, an ecstasy pill, and took a seat next to my cousin's wife. My girlfriend left me. We planned to get married. I found her ring and was this far from getting down on one knee. He positioned his thumb and index finger a centimetre apart and held it above her nose. Said I lacked maturity. Mate, it put me on my ass. Wiped me out. Backhand out of the blue. I loved her. I really, really loved her. I could see my cousin's temporal vein pulsating, and it only relaxed when his dog, an unneutered golden Labrador, began humping Nate's leg. What the fuck is wrong with this thing? Get it off me! Nate fought back the tears as the dog dominated him, while the rest of us drank our beers and watched. When the dog had calmed, he suggested we go to Crown Casino and make a night of it. When we declined, he responded, Suit yourselves, you boring cunts. Gonna have me some fun and make me some money. The trams were no longer running, so he got himself a taxi. When I awoke on my cousin's couch, I saw I had a missed call from Linda. There was also a text message. Where are you, James? I'm very scared. I ran home and couldn't get my key into the front door keyhole. Someone had snapped theirs inside it. I headed around the back. My bedroom window had been shattered. There was blood and glass all over my bed. Linda was drinking tea in the lounge, wrapped in a gown, her face pale. Are you okay, Linda? He's crazy. He smashed his way in at about 7 this morning. I burst into his room, ready to hit him if I needed to. His hand was wrapped in a bloodied bandage on top of a stool next to his bed. Why is there blood and glass on my sheets? Mate, bloody key snapped in the lock. I knocked on Linda's window and called out, but the bitch wouldn't help me. Had to break in. I lost my jacket. Fucking cold out there. I'm losing patience. Settle, pedal. I've cleaned up most of the glass. Had to do it with a busted hand. You should be stoked, not pissed off. I'll get it fixed today. Not on Sunday. Linda's terrified. Oh, fuck her. If the slut had let me in, none of this would have happened. She threatened to call the pigs again. I hate pigs. Nate took his Medicare card to the A&E and got stitched up. I'm exhausted, Linda. I cleaned up the glass and lay shirtless on my bed. You've been very good to me, she said, and began to massage my neck and shoulders. She requested I turn onto my back and gradually lowered her hands down my body. The massage was much more varied, intense, and longer than I'd expected. I lay there and distanced all responsibilities from my mind. The week progressed as normal. Nate organized a window replacement. He commandeered the lounge with his beers, bong, and PlayStation. Linda and I worked and stayed away from him. Following a post-work early Friday evening nap, I noticed Nate had gone. He'd left bottles and spilled bong water next to the TV. Linda cleaned it up. A call came through from Nate's number. It wasn't him. Hello? Hey, Jagger. What? You're kidding. Is he okay? All right. We won't come now. It's too late. All right. I'll see you in the morning. Okay. Later. I rubbed my face with open palms. Linda sat next to me. What's wrong? That was Jagger, a friend of Nate's. Nice guy. You met him. Nate's in hospital. He's been run over. How? He met some drunk girls. Apparently, he was bothering them outside a wine bar in Moonee Ponds. They bolted, but he chased after them. Without looking, he ran in front of a tram. The driver rang the bell, and Nate got out of the way, only to be hit by a car. Is he okay? A few broken bones. Should we go see him? He doesn't deserve it. It'd be the right thing to do. I called my girlfriend to tell her I'd have to cancel our brunch the next day. You should never have moved in with him in the first place, you fucking idiot. I'm so sick of you, she said. Do you want me to come over now? No. With Nate gone, our flat felt like a home. Linda and I had no trouble sleeping that night. When we arrived at the hospital, Nate's left leg was in a plaster cast and elevation sling. His head was supported by a neck brace and his face bruised, one eye bloodshot. I'm so sorry, he said, snivelling. I fucked up. I know I've been an idiot. I should have seen this coming. I've got to change. I've got to be a real man and grow from this. It's about owning your actions. I'm so sorry. I've learned my lesson. Cooking, dressing, cleaning. Linda and I have agreed to take care of it. We want to make a comfortable home for all of us. Thanks, mate, he sobbed. I can't believe how stupid I've been. I'm so sorry. It's okay. We can only go forward from here. I felt bad doing the talking on Linda's behalf. Despite our agreement, I could tell she resented the decision. A week later, Nate was discharged from the hospital. He arrived in a taxi organized by Jagger. They were accompanied by a Zimbabwean woman. The injured man laid his crutch on the floor as the woman positioned him on the couch. He winced when he moved his head. Linda, James, this is Mufaro. She's going to stay with us for a while until I get back on me feet. Hi, we said. Nate instructed Mufaro how to pack his bong. I took Jagger out the front door. Who the hell is that? Jagger sighed. She's support staff from Nate's ward. Okay. What's she doing in our flat? Nate got to know her while she adjusted his TV set and collected his meal trays. They became close. He lured her into his bed. And here she is. Anyway, that's me. I'm done. He's all yours. It doesn't end, does it? With him? Never. Jagger left the property. Nate played loud music in the lounge. Mafaro fired up the PlayStation as instructed. Yeah, 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 he yelled at another gamer. I met Linda in the kitchen. I enjoyed life when he was away, I said. He promised he would change. He's a horrible person. I joined Nate in the lounge. That cunt that hit me, I'm going to take him to the cleaners, mate. You got to take care when driving a car around trams. No excuses. I'll shout you a night on the piss with his wages. He sent Mafaro to get him a beer. Fucking hell, mate. Just when life was turning to shit, I met this African chick. She's gold, mate. I think I love her. Reckon she likes women too. I seen her giving Linda the eye. Man, the things us three are gonna do. You need to take it easy. Put the booze and the bongs down for a while. Give your body a chance to recharge. Just relax. Get to my level. Fuck, mate. No one's gonna stop me having fun. That's what life's all about. Fun. You're such an intense cunt. Pass me the bong, mate. I can't lean over. I lit the cone for him. Mafaro, Nate called. What are you doing? There was no answer. Nate asked me to help him up, and I passed over his crutch. No, 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 he screamed from the kitchen. Not without me. When I went to investigate, the women were kissing in embrace. Mafaro and I are going to drink in Fitzroy. James, maybe you can stay here and look after Nate. What the hell are you doing, Linda? What's wrong with you? I said. Why? Nate sobbed. You're out of here, Linda, you Nazi slut. Out of my house. Go find a hotel. You're not living here anymore. Don't threaten her. You brought all this on yourself. Wake up, I said. All right, James. You're out too, mate. Find yourself a patch of grass outside somewhere. You can't force us out of here. I hold the lease. And so what? I'll show you what. Nate struggled to light a cigarette and dialed 3 numbers on his phone. Hi, I'd like to report trespassers on my property. Yep, I've asked them to leave politely, and they won't. 1 man, 1 woman. I'm recovering from a physical injury, and they're emotionally violating me. I'm terrified for my safety. Please come as soon as you can. He gave the address before hanging up. Mafaro, put the bong away and spray some air freshener. No, I'm going with Linda. Ryan wept. The police are coming, so if you don't want to go to jail, get out now. I can't get done for drugs. It's too much. I can't take it. I sprayed air freshener in the lounge and took Nate's bong outside. When the cops arrived, I apologized for wasting their time and explained we were paying tenants and that the caller was suffering from shock. Mafaro and Linda backed my story. The police informed Nate that as long as we were no physical threat or danger to him, we were allowed to stay until we had figured out an arrangement. They left. Well, Nate, Linda and I agreed not to pay last week's rent in case something like this happened. Keep the bond and I'll get the bed in a week. I'm out. Me too, said Linda. Mufara said nothing as she left the flat with Linda, the pair on their way to the bars of Fitzroy. I heard Nate bawling as I exited the house. I called my girlfriend. Frida, Nate's lost the plot. I'm done. I have to move in with you for a while. I've nowhere else to go. James! For fuck's sake!